Wow, there's a lot to cover this week. Okay, first of all, if it weren't for the fact that on this show they had an unannounced street fight, an unannounced I Quit match, and an unhyped ladder match, if it weren't for those three things, I probably would not believe that Vince Russo booked this because I'll be damned if that wasn't a great 2 hour wrestling show. And I think it's absolutely hilarious that we get the best impact we've had in months on a night when Hogan and Bischoff did not appear. I mean, you take those two off the show, and look how much screen time you freed up for more important things. There was a lot of good stuff this week, like the knockouts. For the first time in months, the knockout division was actually interesting. Okay, they actually did something with Taylor and Sarita. Sarita, who was rocking those tight jeans, by the way. Good lord. Taylor and Sarita, they had this really good street fight. It's the best knockouts action we've had on Impact in ages. Sarita finally gets a freaking win after months of being wasted as a jobber. I'm still pissed their tag team broke up, but this feud could be great if the writers give it half a chance. Then they had a Beautiful People segment that, shockingly, was actually well done. I mean, anything that teases a Beautiful People breakup, I will get behind in a heartbeat. It looks like the current incarnation of the group is just about finished, and that's just fine with me. I think we might see Velvet and Lacey turn face, which, if nothing else, would be something different than what we've been seeing for a long time now. Even if they do end up rejoining Angelina, I'm cool with that. So it looks like the writers are shaking things up and kind of restructuring the knockout division, and I like what I'm seeing. I really do. I mean, they've still got a lot of work to do, but I like where it's going so far. And I love that the knockouts actually got some real screen time this week. I mean, they got two segments, just like they used to back when the division was great. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this came on a night when Hogan and Bischoff were not there. And Hogan and Bischoff show up in January, and the knockout division immediately goes down the shitter. Then they go away for a week, and suddenly it gets better. Coincidence? You tell me. Now, as for the ladder match, maybe I've gotten desensitized to these things by now or something, but I'm almost willing to give TNA a pass on this one. Yes, they were complete idiots to have a ladder match when they just had one last week. Yes, they were stupid not to hype it up at all because the purpose of doing a ladder match is to draw ratings, which not hyping it up hinders its ability to do, thus making it pointless to even book the match in the first place, but they gave it time, and it was an awesome match. And I love that we're finally getting a feud with the Guns and Beer Money. That feud should have happened a long time ago. And I think a best of 5 series is great because these guys have great matches together. They stole the show at the pay-per-view, they stole the show here, and this ensures that we'll be getting a lot more of these matches. Having said that, I do think they're overcomplicating this thing with the supposed controversy over the double pin attempt at the pay-per-view. I mean, seriously, where's the controversy? Just look at the replays. Sabin clearly got the pin before Storm did. I don't know why they're doing this crap with the two referees, but this should be a great feud as long as they don't go into gimmick match overload, which they're already in danger of doing, but that's for another video. Anyway, pretty much all the matches on the show were good or better, except Morgan versus Pope, which was too short. Not everything was great, though. Brian Kendrick finally gets a win over Doug Williams, only to have that win immediately invalidated when he gets punked out by Kevin Nash. Fuck you, Nash! Jesus Christ, I care about you feuding with Jeff Jarrett even less than I cared about Sting feuding with Jeff Jarrett, and I didn't think that was possible. Then, 4 days after you made a huge deal about putting Jay Lethal over Ric Flair, you turn him into Jeff Hardy's bitch. Now, I'm not saying Jay Lethal should have gone over Jeff Hardy necessarily, but he damn well should have lasted longer than 3 minutes, especially since this was the main event, and Jay Lethal is one of these guys, one of the young guys in your roster that you've been doing you seem to be doing your damnedest to turn into a big star. So, that was really counterproductive. Also, Abyss being the #1 contender for the world title, absolute horseshit. Jeff Hardy gets way more votes than Abyss in the polls. The only time Hardy has lost in the last month was in multi-man matches where somebody else got pinned, and he just beat Abyss in a match pretty quickly and easily a couple weeks ago. So, how the hell does that make Abyss the #1 contender? Especially when the rankings are determined by a committee that Hogan himself is a part of. Hogan, who is pissed off at Abyss for betraying him. What kind of sense does that make? So I didn't like that. And finally, we had the big ECW angle to close the show. I guess this is the big talking point that everyone's been buzzing about. To be honest, I'm kind of torn on this one. I really don't care at all about an ECW faction in 2010 in a company that had nothing to do with ECW. I really don't want to see it. That being said, this was a really good segment. You know, the brawl was a lot of fun. It was chaotic with nobody really knowing what the hell was going on. And the way it ended was perfect. They have Dixie jump out of the crowd and say that she invited the ECW guys. Bam! Fade to black. That was perfect. That was exactly the way it should have ended. They didn't have Mike Tenay screaming about what just happened. Like, oh my god, Dixie Carter, the president of TNA Wrestling, just said that she invited the ECW guys. Blah, 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 blah. No. They didn't ruin it by having him screaming over everything. They just dropped that bombshell and silently faded to black. Because silence, in this case, was more powerful. That's good television. That's how you present something like this. So, even though I wish they weren't doing this, I'll begrudgingly admit that I ended up liking it because of the way they presented it. Now, I can't say it wasn't effective because even though I really don't care about this angle, they did manage to present it in such a way that at least left me really curious about what was going to happen next week. And that's what a great cliffhanger is supposed to do. Is that the doorbell? But I wasn't expecting company. That's weird. Weird? You ain't seen nothing yet. You! But I left you in the 4th dimension? Ha! That's what I wanted you to think. All these weeks you've gone about your daily life blissfully unaware that the sword of Damocles was hanging just above your head. Falling into the 4th dimension, all your hair falling out. It was never TNA that caused it. It was me! Me! No, that's impossible. I don't believe it. Ah, a non-believer, are you? Well, here. How do I look now?
Higher video quality! You monster! That's right. I've seized control of this pathetic YouTube channel away from you, and this is only the beginning. I'm going wide open, brother! I'm taking it to the next level! No more stinking playpen videos! Not if I have anything to say about it! Ah! Ah! What happened? Oh God, how could you be so strong? I don't understand. Remember these, asshole? The shades that gave you all your powers? I stole them from you in the 4th dimension, and with them I've now become more credible than you ever were. There's gonna be some changes around here starting right now. It doesn't matter if you get more votes in a fan poll. It doesn't matter if I'm not over at all. I'm taking over this YouTube channel, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it!